Hello and welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to implement Paystack subscription in your React Native project. So for this and more, let's dive into it. Alright, so before we start, let me tell you, I've already implemented or integrated Paystack with my project, okay? Which I did cover that in one of my previous videos. So don't worry, I'm going to leave the link down below. If you want to check it out, you're always free to do that, okay? Now let me take you through what has been achieved so far. First thing we did was to install two packages, okay? The first one is React Native Paystack Web View, alright? And then the second one is React Native Web View. So you can go ahead and install these two packages. Once you are done, you just come here and then import the Paystack provider, okay? So you're supposed to wrap this provider around the screens or the components that you would want to implement the Paystack inside, right? So here I've wrapped it around my payment component, okay? And I've provided a couple of props here. The first one is a primary key or public key, which you are going to grab it in a few seconds. And then I've provided my currency, which is in Ghana cedis, and then my default channels. So I have card and then mobile money, right? And then I've added this debug here so that I can see what's happening at any point in time, all right? And then let's go to my component. All right, so in here, I also grabbed the Paystack hook, okay? So Paystack provides us with a hook, and then inside it we can grab this function, which we can get this method in there, right? So we have the pop-up, and then inside it we call the new transaction, okay? So basically here we are creating a function that we can trigger our web view, okay? And then in here we pass in a couple of props, which includes the customer's details, email, right? And then we have the amount, and then we are going to talk about plan few times, and then here we pass in a reference, and then we have an unsuccess message, which means this function is triggered, or this callback function is triggered when transaction goes on successfully, right? We have on cancel, when the user cancels the transaction, this gets triggered. We have on load, when we click on or when we fire this function and then our web view loads, this function is triggered. If there's an error whilst loading, this function also triggers, right? And then in here we are passing in some metadata as well, right? Down here we are basically calling the pay now function, which we've implemented at the top here. So this is the basic way of integrating your Paystack with your React Native project. Now let's go ahead and then do some grab our public key, okay? So let's go to our Paystack service application, right? So if you don't know where this is, you can just open your browser and type in paystack.com, okay? So this is going to lead you to this page. You click on login if you already have an account. If you don't have an account, you can click on create free account, okay? And then you can go ahead and fill in these forms. Once you are done, you will be navigated to this particular page, which is the home page, right? So I'm currently in the testing mode, and as you can see, I've done some stuffs or activities earlier on. Now when you check at the sidebar here, we have recurring, right? And then under the recurring we have subscribers, we have plans, and then we have subscription, okay? So subscribers basically gives you a list of your subscribers to your application. The plan is what they subscribe to, all right? And then subscription is it shows you the subscribers and then the plans they've subscribed to, basically, all right? So as you can see here, it asks us to create a plan, and then we get our subscribers to subscribe to that particular plan, right? So I'm just going to go back to plans, and I'm going to click on new. All right, so now once I click on new, you can see there's a pop-up right here, okay? So here I'm supposed to pass in the name of the plan, and then you can pass in some description, which I'm not going to do that. and then you can, okay, I'm in Ghana city, so it's fine. And then I'm going to provide an amount that I'm going to subtract or I'm going to deduct from them, right? Or charge. And then here we are supposed to provide the interval. Okay, so the interval is the subscription period. Okay, okay, actually I intend to do it early so that I can get the message and then show it to you guys, right? So early subscription, and then let's go to plan. So we can choose early. If it's a daily subscription, you can choose daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, biannually, and then annually, right? So I'm going to go with annually or hourly, right? Not annually. Yeah. And then I'm going to leave this one as well. So it asks for us to create a subscription page. We can click on that to add a subscription page to it, or we can do that later. All right. So with a subscription page is when you want to test it through their web view, that's where you check this, right? But if you don't want to test it through their web view, you can leave it that way. Yeah, and I would like to test it through their web view as well, so I'll just take that and then create. Okay, so they are saying description is not allowed to be empty, but then they said optional anyways. So let's see, this is let's see, we are trying, that's all. And then let's click on create. Great. So as you can see, so it says a test plan is okay, fine. We can copy the link and then leave it, right? So here, as you can see, we've been able to create our plan, right? So we have the amount, interval, the plan code, no subscription, and then the total revenue, right? Now let's go back to our settings to grab our public key. So I'm just going to go to API keys and webhook. Okay, let's go to the test key. So we have the public test key, so I'm going to copy this one. Okay, the live key, we only use that one if you want to enroll to production, right? And I'm just going to go back to my provider, right? And I'm going to paste. All right, so now that we are done, we will need to go back to our payments component, right? And as you can see here, we have a field called plan. So here we are basically supposed to pass in the plan code. Okay, if it was a direct transaction, we wouldn't bother to add this one. Okay, and then once we trigger it, it's going to use this amount for the transaction, right? But because we want to do a subscription, you have to provide this plan, and then we have to pass in the plan code. So I'll just go back again, and then let's go to our plans. Great. So I'm going to copy this plan code here and then come back here. I'm going to just save it right here. Great. And then let's go back again. Are we missing out anything? Let me click on the plan. So this plan has this ID. So I'm just going to copy the plan ID right here. And let's go back, and then I'm going to paste it here. Okay. So this data, you can provide a bunch of information here so that later on you can grab it and then use it at your backend or anything, right? Yeah. So now I think we are done, right? Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my Metro bundler. Okay. And I'm going to run the application on my physical device using Expo. So you can do same. In the terminal, I'm going to type npm run start. All right, so now that our Metro bundler is ready, I'm just going to click on scan QR code to scan it. So this is going to take a while to load the application for us. All right, so as you can see, our app is ready and it's running. So now let's try and test it out. Okay, so let's click on make payment. All right, so as you can see in the console, we are able to start our load or start our web load, right? All right, so as you can see, our Paystack web view has loaded successfully, and here our payment method is card, right? So we can either click on successful or success bank authentication and then decline, right? So let's click on success. But before we click on it, I would like you to take note of this. At the top there, where we have the email of the customer, right? We have the pay, which is 5 cedis, which was the amount that we did set when we were creating our plan. So if you go back to our plan, we have plan amount, which is 5 cedis. But in the implementation, the amount we passed here was what? 3,000. So it means this amount doesn't matter, okay? Any amount you pass here should be good to go, right? The reason why I did pass an amount here is because this field is required, right? So that's why I did pass this amount here. So now let's go back to our mobile device and then click on pay. But before, let's click on success and then pay. All right, so our transaction is done successfully, and as in our console, we have the success message, which is approved. And then we have some reference token, status, transaction, and all that here, right? So it means we've been able to subscribe successfully. Let's go back to our plan. Let's go and check our subscribers now. Okay, so now we have Mike as a subscriber, right? And then the lifetime value is 5 cedis. So go to subscription. As you can see, we have hourly subscription, and the subscriber is Mike, and this is the amount, and the duration is an hour. Okay, so this is how you can actually subscribe, right, through Paystack on your React Native application. So it's just simple. Implement your provider and then pass in the right parameters. Grab your public key, and then once you are done in your components or page, you have to import your hook. Grab it, pass in the necessary information. Always don't forget to pass in the plan code. Okay, once it's recurrent, as in subscription, you always have to pass in your plan code, right? Yeah, so I think that is the end of this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, kindly click on the subscribe button, like this video, share this video with friends, and see you in the next one. Happy coding.